It is a city of startling contradictions, a city of war, a city of peace, a city of earthly pleasures, a city of spiritual illumination, a city of great buildings and old ruins, a city of humble farms, republics, kingdoms, and empires. In a city of endless exploration, this collection of photos and videos taken by me barely scratches the surface. Nevertheless, it is an honest attempt to capture the amazing history of an amazing city. I would like to share these images with you. This is Rome, a history in images. It begins, or so they say, with the story of Romulus and Remus. Legend states that Rome was founded in 753 BC. These twins were abandoned. They survived by nursing a she-wolf, as depicted by this statue which can be found in Rome's Capitoline Museum. Romulus eventually killed Remus and supposedly ascended into heaven. Romulus left behind as many wives and descendants. He also gave the city his name, and so it became known as Rome. That is legend. The facts are more interesting. Rome actually begins many years earlier with a calm, serene landscape. Several hills to the east, a couple of hills to the west, and the area bisected by a river, eventually called the Tiber River, running, roughly speaking, north and south. Many thousands of years ago, the first inhabitants arrive. They choose to settle on a hill centrally located near the river. There they make primitive tools, shown here. These date from what is called the Upper Paleolithic era, roughly about 30,000 BC. These first Romans seemed to like this hill, later called the Palatine Hill. It is here where the most ancient indications of human civilization in Rome can be found. Many thousands of years later, a group of settlers builds huts on the Palatine. These huts date from 900 BC and weren't discovered until the 20th century. Here we are looking at models of the huts on display in the Palatine Museum. And these photos show the highest parts of the Palatine where these ancient peoples lived. The Palatine Museum has many objects from this era and from the following centuries, including these various items found at the hut settlements, cremation tomb items, and remnants of a child's tomb. This child was perhaps only 2 years old. This is a cistern on the Palatine Hill. Dating from 500 BC, it was later used as a dump for old votive materials. This was a very simple existence for the people who lived on this fertile land, and their life remained as simple until a civilization that had developed in Tuscany to the north began to make its influence felt in these settlements on the Tiber. The citizens of this new civilization called themselves Ravenna, but we know them today as the Etruscans. The Etruscan civilization was one of the most remarkable in history. They taught the Romans a great deal: newer methods of irrigation, hydraulic engineering, architecture, and even gladiatorial games. They loved the arts, sports, and fine banquets. They were a seagoing people and had many trade networks. Unlike other civilizations of the time, they treated women as equal to men. Thanks to a well-trained military and an amazing amount of wealth, the Etruscans were the major force on the Italian peninsula for hundreds of years. They founded a number of city-states on the Italian peninsula. These were ruled by kings and therefore called kingdoms. It was the establishment of a kingdom of Rome that began with the legend of Romulus and Remus already mentioned. Romulus gave the city its name and became the king of Rome, officially founding the city in 753 BC. There were several kings of Rome. They conducted a census, reorganized the state into classes, and made military service obligatory. They actually formed a senate and an assembly, but these primitive legislative bodies had almost no power and answered to the king on all governmental matters. Much of what we know about the Etruscans come from discoveries of funerary monuments and other burial sites, some of the only parts of the civilization to survive. Many of these items can be seen in Rome's Etruscan National Museum, the largest collection of Etruscan art in the world. Let's go there now. This is the Villa Julia, built by Pope Julius III in 1553. Nowadays, it houses the Etruscan Museum. Here is a 19th century replica of an ancient Etruscan temple. If you were an Etruscan living in Rome around 700 BC, this is the kind of temple you would see. Also visible is this amazing Etruscan tomb, dating from 470 BC. Inside the museum, we see the remnants of an ancient civilization, the likeness of an Etruscan woman, an Etruscan helmet, devotional objects found in a temple, a group of sculpted heads representing worshippers who made offerings in the temple, items found in what is called the Tomb of the Sardinian Bronzes, objects from a man's tomb showing armaments and other masculine objects, objects from a woman's tomb showing jewelry and other similar objects. This sarcophagus of lions, and these elegant Etruscan vases. Also in the museum is the most complete work of Etruscan art in the entire world. It is called the Etruscan Sarcophagus of the Spouses. It was designed to hold the remains of a married couple. Dating from 590 BC, this sarcophagus most certainly brings the Etruscans to life. There is no question that the Etruscans were an amazing civilization, but after 200 years of Etruscan rule, the Roman kingdom was ready for a change. King Lucius Tarquinius Superbus, often referred to as Tarquin the Proud, is seen as a tyrant. Perhaps even worse, the king has a son who raped a noblewoman, driving her to suicide. Revolutionaries see this as a perfect opportunity to overthrow the monarchy completely. Tarquin the Proud and his Etruscan allies are defeated and the ousted king goes into exile. Thus, in 509 BC, the kingdom of Rome comes to an end. Rome is now an independent state. Up until now, the Etruscan kings have been chosen by the Roman Senate. With the kings now gone, the Senate gives leadership authority to two consuls elected to a one-year term. Confusion and anger among the ordinary people, called plebeians, results in the threat of a strike and eventually gives them a voice in the form of tribunes. Over the years, the Roman Republic becomes highly organized. The letters S, P, Q, R are used at this time, appearing on everything from monuments to currency. SPQR stands for Senatus Populusque Romanus, which loosely translated means the Senate and the people of Rome. Later on, this phrase will be used by Benito Mussolini, and even by the current government of Rome on everything from government documents to manhole covers. For almost its entire existence, the Roman Republic is either at war or threatened by its neighbors. In the late 4th century BC, the Gauls, coming from modern-day France, invade Roman territory, defeating the great power in the Battle of Allia in 390 BC. The victorious Gauls sack Rome, plundering it at will. The city of Rome realizes it needs more protection, so the Republic decides to build a wall. Named after Servius Tullius, who had been the king of Rome 200 years earlier, the Servian wall was almost 7 miles long and up to 33 feet high. The wall, made from volcanic rock, is still visible today. The remnants you see here are located at the modern Termini train station. Also around this time was constructed the Appian Way, one of the oldest roads in Europe. People have been using this road for 2,300 years. Let us now look at some various places and sites from the era of the Roman Republic, as well as other sites from the end of the Etruscan era. The Temple of Hercules Victor is located very close to the Tiber River. It was constructed in the 2nd century BC. Right next to it, and also from the same time period, is this one dedicated to Portunus. It is considered to be the best preserved original temple of ancient Rome. This detailed mosaic was found in the ruins of an old villa. It was probably made around 100 BC. Area Sacra di Sant'Omobono, in English the area near the Church of St. Omobono, is an amazing archaeological site. Here stood ancient temples and religious altars. The ruins are the oldest known temple remains in Rome, dating from 600 BC. Dating from the same time are these fragments of decorative additions for ancient buildings. They can be seen in Rome's Capitoline Museum. Also in the Capitoline are these examples of Etruscan pottery and a fragment of a Roman chariot procession. In the Palatine Museum, one can find these votive deposits from the Temple of Magna Mater, dating from the 3rd and 2nd centuries BC. And these heads from statues, possibly from the same era. The Roman Forum has columns from what used to be the Temple of Castor and Pollux, twin gods honored by this structure built to celebrate a military victory in the late 5th century BC. The Ponte Roto is the oldest stone bridge in the city. Built around 100 BC, only this one arch is left, thus the name Ponte Roto, or Broken Bridge. A humble valley located in between the Palatine and Palatine Hills is the site of something extraordinary. Beginning with the kings of Rome, chariot races are held here. During the Republican and Imperial eras, the venue is extended dramatically. It is a circus, or racetrack, unlike any other, the greatest of them all, the Circus Maximus. This massive arena hosts chariot races. Crowds roar their approval as 4-horsed chariots race past them, sometimes engaging in violent and deadly clashes. The length of 10 football fields placed end-to-end, the Circus Maximus could hold an estimated 170,000 to 200,000 people. The years pass, and the military might of the Roman Republic expands. The 3 Punic Wars are fought with Carthage, and Rome is victorious, wiping out the Carthaginian Empire and taking its lands. In the 1st century BC, a group of 3 men make an informal pact, hoping to help each other achieve greatness while circumventing the checks and balances set up by the Constitution of the Roman Republic. These 3 men are the rich and powerful General Crassus, the general and statesman Pompey, and the noted writer, historian, statesman, and general Gaius Julius Caesar. This is the First Triumvirate, formed in 60 BC. Julius Caesar travels north to conquer Gaul, modern-day France, leaving Crassus and Pompey to guard Roman interests in the south. When Crassus and his army die in battle, there are just 2 left, Caesar and Pompey. Pompey has the support of the powerful Roman Senate, while Caesar is seen as a criminal who wages war without official approval. The Senate orders Caesar to come back home disarmed, leaving his army behind. Instead, in January of 49 BC, saying the die is cast, Caesar famously crosses the Rubicon with his army, starting a civil war and chasing Pompey and his army out of Rome. Pompey flees to Egypt for safety, but is killed immediately upon arrival. Having defeated the conservative Republicans, Julius Caesar returns in triumph to Rome, where he assumes the role of dictator, ostensibly a temporary role. During this time he creates the Julian calendar, makes many reforms, and starts construction on the Curia Julia, shown here, a new meeting hall for the Roman Senate. Construction begins in January of 44 BC. In February of 44 BC, Julius Caesar assumes the role of dictator for life. It is clear that his leadership role is not temporary, and the powers that be move against him. In March of 44 BC, the Curia Julia is still not finished, so the Senate meets here, at the Lago de Torre Argentina. The temples, here in ruins, can be seen. Behind one of them, next to a large theater used for spectacular performances, is a temporary meeting area being used by the Senate. Unbeknownst to the dictator for life, about 60 senators have agreed to assassinate him. On March 15, 44 BC, Julius Caesar is killed by the senators of the Roman Republic. Though he is stabbed a total of 23 times, it is the second wound that severs an artery and proves to be fatal. Later, his adopted son Octavian orders that a monument be erected on the very spot where Caesar was assassinated. It is the remains of this monument we see in the photo. This is where Julius Caesar was killed. Mark Antony, a general who supported Julius Caesar, gives a famous speech at Caesar's funeral 5 days after the assassination. The emotional speech drives the crowd to riot. A second triumvirate is formed, this time around it is more official, consisting of Mark Antony, the young Octavian, only 19 years old at this time, and Marcus Aemilius Lepidus. But the three men, all very powerful, grow jealous and suspicious of each other. Octavian feels that Lepidus is treating him like a child and eventually defeats the elder general in battle, sending him into exile. Meanwhile, Mark Antony, despite being married, has an ongoing love affair with Cleopatra VII, living with her in Egypt. Octavian defeats the forces of Mark Antony and Cleopatra at the Battle of Actium in 31 BC, and the couple eventually commits suicide. This leaves the now very powerful Octavian as the absolute ruler of Rome and its territories. At first, he surrenders his power, but the people give it back to him. The Senate makes him first citizen. He takes the name of Caesar Augustus and takes on an important military role. Thus, Caesar Augustus becomes the first Roman emperor, and the Republic, in 27 BC, becomes the Roman Empire.